What is up, everyone? This is Anxious Gaming here, and I'm coming at you with a review. Well, not really a review, but more of a ranking. A ranking, if you would rather have that. So, I will be doing a review of the newest Batman movie on my podcast here. That's going to be episode 1, and it will have a guest on that episode. So, yeah. Today, for this first real YouTube video, I am going to be ranking the live action Batman films, as you see down here below. So we got the newest one, the Batman, we got the Dark Knight trilogy, we have and we got the Burton Batman films. And just put that out there before anyone asks, I have seen all of them. I am what you would probably define as a nerd. A pretty decently big nerd on Batman. He is my favorite comic book character from DC, and probably all time. I mean, him and Spider-Man are very close, uh, but I probably would have to give it to Batman. I love him. So, to get into things, we got the S tier. Most everyone knows S is like cream of the crop, best of the best, and then it goes down to A, which is like it's really good but has a few flaws. And then we got B, which is just it's good. It could be better. You got C, it's average. D, it's worse than expected, and F is just it's bad. Very little redeeming qualities, you could say. Uh, so to kick it off, I will start with I'll go in chronological order of when they came out. All right, so we got Tim Burton's Batman, 1989. Now, this one was the first Batman movie I was introduced to as a child and holds a special place in my heart. Not only it being a good Batman movie, but it being a fun one. And for that, I'm going to have to give it an A. The original Tim Burton Batman it's good. It's pretty good. I mean, we have Michael Keaton as Batman. Great actor. I mean, does a phenomenal job acting as Batman. And it also gave us some pretty good memes. I'm not going to lie. There are some good Burton Batman memes out there. Nicholson as Joker was good. I mean, later on we will see a better portrayal of him. But for it being the first on-screen, like live action Batman film, it was a very solid film. Very good. I mean, Gotham could have been a little bit less like Burtonized, I could say. Uh, but I mean, it wasn't bad. It was definitely an in between of two later films, which we will talk about and point on later. Point out later, my bad. But to kick us off, we had a very solid Batman film. Very good. Just couple little flaws here and there that they could have fixed, but you can look that over and be like, that's a good film. All right, next up we have Batman Returns from 1992. Another decent Batman film. In my opinion, this film should be considered a B. It has the potential to be an A, but there's just a couple things that's like, DeVito as Penguin, not a terrible casting choice, but I mean, there could have been probably a lot better. A lot better in my opinion, which we do see later, and I'll bring that up again. But again, Tim Burton, great film. Well, not great. It's a good one. It's a good one. These two first Batman films that came out are good. Like, I can watch them consistently and be like, yeah, those are good films. I'll watch them and enjoy them. And these were the two Batman films that I was first introduced to from my dad, who was also a huge nerd and all that fun stuff. So he introduced me to these, and I instantly fell in love with Batman and decided to watch the other two that came out in the 90s after finishing these two. And safe to say, these two are definitely better. Now, the next one that we have, Batman Forever. introduced a new actor, and not as good as Michael Keaton. Definitely not as good as Michael Keaton, but he wasn't bad. I mean, Val Kilmer, pretty good, very good actor. But this film is definitely a C. In my opinion, it wasn't like horridly terrible. I mean, it had its flaws. It was decent for a kid, but as an adult, it's like, you know, I actually liked Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I thought he did a decent job. I mean, it was, yeah, it's Jim Carrey, so, but like Two Face and the Riddler, they had a decent dynamic. It was alright, Definitely not on par with the previous two films that came out in the early 1990s and late 1980s. But it was definitely a step down. A lot more flaws than even Batman Returns, you know. Robin, he was alright. Definitely got worse later on, uh, especially in the next movie that we're going to be talking about. But all in all, it's a film that's like, you know what? If I can just shut my brain off and just have it in the background, it could be on. I'm not going to hate it being on. I'll probably watch a little bit of it. But that brings us to Batman and Robin from 1997. A great year, by the way. Great year for college football, in my opinion. But this film was definitely a downside of that. And some may say it deserves a D. It's going straight to F for me. I mean, just the Arnold Schwarzenegger as no, just no. Mm-mm. Does not work for Freeze. No. I mean, I get it. He's a big movie star and whatnot. I kind of relate him to The Rock. Rock's been in everything. Arnold Schwarzenegger seemed to be in everything back then, along with Sylvester Stallone, but that's besides the point. Bane in this movie, while being, I guess, somewhat comic accurate, with like the juice and all that and the venom, but like, Poison Ivy was also just, oh, no, just no. And also, those almost messed up there. Don't want to get struck down by the YouTube gods, but those freaking suits in the finale with the gray and the, oh goodness me, no, just no, 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 no. Also, the bat nipples became a huge thing. I can't remember if it was in Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. I want to say this just because it's such a bad movie. And like the Bat credit card, no, just no. It was just everything you thought you knew about Batman, him being like this cool dude and all that, and just a great hero. It was just like it seemed more like a parody of something like this, which is it's watchable, but like you're not gonna go out of your way to watch it. This just seemed like a parody of that. They just messed everything up and just were like, you know what, screw it. We just need to get we just need to get it out and make money. That was this movie. And it's very forgettable, very bad. Don't ever want to watch it again. I mean, as a kid, I'd watch it just because I was a kid. And I mean, it had colors and Batman, and it was weird though. So, on that sour note, we didn't get a Batman film for years after that until 2005 with Batman Begins. Oh, shoot, that's not what I want. Batman Begins. This movie, in my opinion, it was a good start to a great trilogy. And for that, I'm going to give it a B. Some may say it deserves an A. I agree. I don't agree, but like I see where you're coming from. It's a good movie. It's a decent movie. I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, backstory to like Bruce becoming Batman and like all the training he does with freaking Oh, shoot, I am blanking on his name. Ra's al Ghul, whatever. That guy. Uh, Ra's al Ghul. There we go. There we go. Uh, all the training with that and all that. I mean, it was fun to see. I mean, definitely, I would want more Batman in it, and that's my opinion. I mean, Bruce Wayne, he has his own side. Like, he's a completely different character, in my opinion. They're two different characters. Kind of like how Spider-Man and Peter Parker, while being similar, are two different types of people. Where Spider-Man is this awesome hero that like isn't self-conscious or anything. Well, I mean, he puts off like he's not self-conscious or anything like that. And then we got Peter Parker, who's this nerd that everyone bullies and makes fun of him and just doesn't give him the light of day, but then they'll praise Spider-Man. You know, that's kind of like how I see Batman. Bruce Wayne's the guy that's like, oh my god, it's Bruce Wayne. He has all the money. He's this nice dude. And they see Batman like, it's Batman the vigilante. No, we don't want him. And then later on to accept Batman. But in my eyes, are two different kind of characters. And while the side of seeing Bruce Wayne is it's fun for a little bit, but it gets to a point where it's like, all right, can we just get to like Batman now? I mean, not to dog on this movie too much, but I love this movie. These trilogies, or this trilogy of movies, is just good. It's great. Uh, but the first one, it was a good starting point. A very good starting point. Christian Bale, good actor. You know, I nothing against him. He's a decent actor. Did a good job. Uh, the suit, a little too tactical in my opinion. I mean, I get it. It was more of like a grounded kind of like, ooh, Batman, you know. But I just like, especially like in the 1989 Batman with the yellow circle and the belt, and that suit was a great suit. That suit was a phenomenal suit. This suit, it's all right. It's good. I mean, it's a lot better than the gray and black suits from Batman and Robin. That's for sure. But I feel like the suit could have been a lot better, in my opinion. But all in all, good movie, good starting point, which then brings us to 2008, The Dark Knight. Automatic S tier. Great movie. Sometimes I'll just watch this movie and not the other two. And for me, I love starting trilogies at the beginning and then going all the way through. I do that with Star Wars. I'll start at the Phantom Menace and I'll go to Return of the Jedi and maybe sometimes watch the sequels, but I don't care about the sequels. They suck. Moving on from that. Also, Lord of the Rings. I'll even start at The Hobbit and go all the way to Return of the King. Which, hot take, I don't think the Hobbits are that bad. They could be better. But, anyways, this movie, The Dark Knight. Oh, such a great movie. And it's not just a great Batman movie, it's a great movie that also has the Joker. And the portrayal of Joker in this by Heath Ledger, rest in peace, great actor, phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Honestly, if I did a Joker rating, his would probably be an S tier along with Mark Hamill's voice acting for his Joker films and games and whatnot. But Heath Ledger made this movie better than it could have been if they used a different villain and didn't cast him. He was just a phenomenal Joker. And in my opinion, The Dark Knight is maybe the best Batman movie. And I'll say maybe because later on we'll get to that. But moving on from The Dark Knight, we have The Dark Knight Rises. This movie, it was alright. It was good. It definitely could not live up to The Dark Knight. Bane, portrayed by Tom Hardy, decent. I liked it. I love imitating his voice and Pringle cans. It's fun. Also, on the topic of voices, Christian Bale's Batman voice, don't need that. It's just too much. But continuing on with this, This movie's good. I liked seeing Batman being at his peak and then just getting destroyed by Bane and having to build himself back up. That was cool. Also, we saw Catwoman. It was decent. I don't know if she's as good as the Batman Return Catwoman because, I don't really know. They're kind of both similar. They both have good things and both have bad things about their characters and all of that. So, this one's hard because I feel like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises are very two similar movies that are good, could be better, are almost there. They're right there to being. I want to put either one of these in A tier, but I don't know which one. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put an A. I do feel like Batman Begins, while being a great movie, well, a good movie, and a good starting point for the series, I still feel like it is the weaker of the three. Especially in the terms of if you just want action, it's definitely the weakest. But it's a good movie. Dark Knight Rises is full of action. Great film, not great, but a good film, a good movie, good Batman movie. Not nowhere near The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is like, it may just be one level up on this, but in reality, it's leaps and bounds ahead of The Dark Knight Rises. And that's due in part to Heath Ledger, which is a big part of this movie being so good. Alright, so moving on from the Holy Trinity and into the newest released Batman film titled The Batman of 2022, starring Robert Pattinson. Now, I've been hearing mixed reviews, a lot of good ones, a lot of it wasn't much, it was better than expected. Uh, so in my opinion, this gets an S tier, but barely an S tier. And why do I say that? Like, it's not anywhere comparable to Dark Knight. I mean, they're both great Batman movies, but they're like two different genres. The Dark Knight is an action film, and the Batman, while also having action in it, is a detective film. It leans into Batman and Bruce's ability to use their detective work to help them solve crimes and fight bad guys, Which I loved seeing. So we hadn't seen much of that in any of the other ones. All the other ones, he's just this big dude that just punched people. Now, the only thing I might say about the Batman and Robert Pattinson is the portrayal of Bruce Wayne, which I like it. I do. I understand the story of it where he's this broken character. He's this broken man that has been consumed by the Batman. And which is why we see him being so like dark, which I love. I love that. Uh, and I'm looking forward to the future films starring him because I have a feeling that they're gonna have him lean more into Bruce Wayne later in later movies and try to help Gotham not just as Batman but also as Bruce. But the big strength of this movie is Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Batman. It's so good. One of my favorites, if not my favorite. I love how he just takes on this role and just exudes Batman. Like if this is kind of like the Batman that I envision in my head. Like Christian Bale, I grew up with him as Batman, and he was my Batman for my childhood. But Robert Pattinson, I had some doubts about him, but he has become a very good actor in recent years, and is definitely put behind the Twilight movies. But I would have to say that this movie, while being different, is still a great movie. with one of the best suits of the entirety of these movies, in my opinion. This looks good. It is practical, and definitely puts to shame the Nolan films suit. And also the villain, the Riddler, perfectly portrayed. I mean, not comic book accurate, but it's still a good film and a great villain that reinvents the Riddler. Like, we don't usually think of him as a serial killer. We think of him as more of a mastermind that doesn't get his hands dirty. But in this film, he's literally a serial killer, and it's kind of disturbing. Like, there are people out there that are like that. Just the way that, like, he thinks, and it's just the maniacal. It's just a great portrayal of a new Riddler, I'd have to say. And also, don't mind the dog in the background. He's just being a little whiny boy. But so, I would have to put these two are very close. With I think this one coming out on top a little bit in the villain department, and this one coming out on top in the Batman department. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the rankings of these movies. I will be having a more in-depth review of The Batman 2022 on my podcast, which I will be having a guest, as I've already said, who went and saw the movie with me. And granted, she has not seen any of the other ones, but she loved this one. So we're going to be hearing two different sides of the story. Mine being of a massive nerd of Batman, and hers being of a completely nuanced fan of Batman. So that'll be coming out soon. Uh, but this is my ranking. I'd have to. These are tied for first. I don't know which one I'd rather put on top. It's a tough decision, and if I decide, I'll probably just change it up in a later video. But then it goes these two, and then it'll go the Batman from 1989, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins. So I'll put that right there. Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and then that. Batman and Robin. Such a disgusting movie that I wish was never made. But so that's gonna be my video for today. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy. We'll probably be doing more videos like this for other film franchises that I enjoy. So be looking out for that. And I would not be surprised if you do get a Arkham video soon with gameplay and rankings of the Arkham games, because I don't know. I guess I'm in a Batman mood right now. But thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your guys' day, and I'll see you in the next video.